Quick shout out to the Fire Mage that I ran with in this key, Toasted Buns, because he recognized me and you can see that combo at the end of our run. But this is going to be a plus 15 Sanguine Depths. I end up doing 18k overall at the end of this key. This is a pug as well, and our tank ends up pulling like just an absolute monster, which was kind of crazy. So it's definitely something to watch out for. And this, first of all, plug my my Twitch because this is where I streamed it, which is the reason why I'm commentating over this video, because I played DMCA'd music over it. So, but I do have the Frost 2-piece, which is a large part of the reason that I'm able to do this much damage. And for all of you people that are wondering, is Frost dead this season after all the changes? It is not. It certainly felt dead before I got the 2-set, but the 2-set makes it very not dead. Makes it very good. Very good. Still not Hunter levels. That's definitely just overtuned, and Frost is no longer overtuned. It probably and honestly would end up being overtuned if the Icy Vein, or not the Icy Veins, the Blizzard CDR nerf hadn't gone through. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's nothing else. It definitely would have been overtuned. It feels really bad to not have your Frozen Orb up like 2 a pack every time, but the main new kind of gameplay loop that you're going to experience with Comet Storm is you're going to have to Frost Nova in reaction to your Comet Storm, which you'll notice by this like white-blue aura around your character when it happens. It can be a little hard to notice when you have all these healing effects going on you, like you can see now, but there it just was. And you'll notice me doing a pattern of when I go into a pack, I'm going to Blizzard, Frozen Orb, Icy Veins, and then use Frost Nova just to shatter both my Blizzard, my Frozen Orb, and my Comet Storm all at the same time. I'm going to do it the pull after this, and I'm going to do 60k DPS. So it's very worth to do, is what I'll say about that, I guess. Night Fae also fits really well into the rotation Mythic Plus, I found, just because you have more gaps where you're not just spamming your Ice Lance because of your freezing Frozen Orb. So I'd recommend playing it. It also does decent damage. You can see, boom, absolutely insane damage. And then right out of that, the Fire Mage is going to combust and carry the rest of this pull for us. Ended up being a kind of tight DPS race between me and this Fire Mage. He played it really, really well. He did insane amounts of damage, especially on the third boss, actually. So I think both of our success can be purely attributed to the way that this tank pulled. He pulled like a monster. I felt like I was doing a like pug plus 23 key and a pug plus 23 key with a tank that had no fear of dying, basically. He was pulling everything in sight as fast as he could. He was speedrunning this key. So, but yeah, this Fire Mage is still, pumping very hard. I guess that seems kind of ironic considering I'm saying it this time, but I'm referring to the overall key. Here we had a lot of cleave, and the Comet Storm with the cleave plus my Splay Nice on an extended period when he didn't have combust because he just used it on the prior pack means it's not gonna look good. But again, refer to the third boss. So yeah, but he doesn't have 2-piece, and I'm also very highly geared. By the way, Bob, if you end up watching this, that was me picking up the proc from your stat ring that you bought off the auction house. So I've seen one. Here I'm gonna Night Fae because my Rune of Power, Frozen Orb, and Ice Veins are all on cooldown. I'm not in Rune of Power, so I just want to get those things back off cooldown. You could, of course, always just cancel it and use that single target for... Just use the haste buff for the single target rotation. I'm also not going to re-Icy Veins here. The boss is quite low, about 20% HP, and I want to make sure that I'm going to have the Icy Veins going into the next pack. And just to be extra helpful, the second boss, I do Icy Veins at 20% HP, and then I don't have Icy Veins going into the next pack. So I gave you a real life example of why you wouldn't want to do this. I was looking forward to doing big damage here, and I get absolutely sniped by Dark Bolts at the start of this pack, and then the Fire Mages combust, and then he kills everything, so yeah. Fire is not looking weak. I think this is probably the best level of balance that all three Mage specs have been in quite a long time, actually. Strange thing to say for Shadowlands, really, but there's no time like the present. Fire is definitely kind of overtuned on single target. Frost still has its insane cleave potential, and then Arcane just has its usage on that below 5 target or at 5 target cleave. And Arcane has the insanely strong burst as well. If any of you are trying to do Anduin on normal, or if you're trying to do Anduin on heroic, Arcane is insane on that fight. You'll probably end up doing top damage from padding on the ads, but its burst cooldowns line up very, very well with everything in that fight. You can either I'm not gonna explain it because we're shaky right now. We don't need to explain like what you would burst as Arcane on Anduin. That'd be kind of random. But I did try it tonight, and my god, it is a very fun fight to play as Arcane. We actually have 4 decurses in this group, so I probably didn't need to block that. But Mage is impatient to do more DPS. One thing you can do in anticipation of your Comet Storm proc at the start of a pull is hold off on using any damage abilities on the mobs before doing it, before you want to Nova them. That's, for instance, why we're casting Blizzard first. You always would probably want to cast Blizzard first, but it's extra important here just to ensure that you have the time to get your Frost Nova off after you send out your Frozen Orb. But here's another example of me doing 60k DPS just by pressing Frost Nova. As happens, we just accidentally killed Woe. Not really gonna hurt us. We did it for the quick rotation to the next 3-pack, really, is what it is. It does suck for the Fire Mage, though. This is actually probably one of the reasons I end up beating him on overall, is just the times that we didn't kill because is huge for them. And are you ready to watch one of the worst mistakes of my life? I re-Icy Veins as I see the Comet Storms coming in because I want their CDR, and then boom, or close boom, I don't know. The rogue's gonna die here, and then yeah, he dies bursting, which I barely live by ice blocking at like 1% HP. And then now we sit here as I wait for the 6-second res to be cast, and my Icy Veins slowly falls off. So not a perfect key by any measure, yet I was still able to reach this level of DPS. So I think that once we get double legendaries and once we get your 4-piece tier set, Frost is really going to become quite an insane class once again in Mythic Plus. Now we're back in Icy Veins though, and the tank, like the madman that he is, just goes and pulls another pack. Here I'm kind of hovering to see if my Comet Storm is going to proc, so I get Frost Nova. Since it proc during my Blizzard, I just ended up not Frost Novaing. And in case you didn't know this, when you Frost Nova with your Orb and your Blizzard out, you probably know that it gives you a lot of CDR, but also it's not really a DPS gain until I think about 7 to 8 targets is when it actually becomes a DPS gain. And I'm fairly certain, just from my initial reactions to using this tier set, it's actually a DPS gain to Frost Nova your Comet Storm at lower target counts, because Comet Storm kind of has its hits focused a lot more in a shorter period of time. I think Frozen Orb hits about every 0.5 seconds, and Comet Storm has 7 hits, but they hit very fast. So in the time that you're Frost Novaing, your Comet Storms will probably hit 4 times as opposed to your Frozen Orb paying 2 or 3. And what that means is on 3 targets, instead of getting 9 ticks of cooldown reduction, you're going to get 12, or instead of getting 6, you'll get 12. So yeah, it can really be a big difference. Of course, you're not going to be wanting for cooldown reduction at all running this 2-piece. And here I don't have Icy Veins. Luckily, the healer is clutch in Ascendances and saves my ass. Otherwise, I was going to die. And I make a classic blunder of just standing in the middle of the Sanguine Depth pool. Like I said before, though, 4 decurses. So there's really no danger of getting my haste reduced from that debuff. But there is a danger of me looking like an idiot in front of however many people watch this video. So, woohoo. Oh, I get hit by it again, and I promise you that's probably not the last time of this fight. But look at that, the satisfaction when that Comet Storm comes down and just annihilates these packs of mobs. Here's the blunder I made. I missed by a few seconds in my commentary, right? But I cast that Re-Icy Veins again, at or below 20% HP, and because of that, I'm just not going to have this Icy Veins going to this next pack, and that's really going to hurt my DPS. It's going to hurt it a lot because I actually am going to miss my Frost Nova on my Comet Storm, the next Comet Storm, and yeah, like I said before, that's a big part of your DPS on these target counts, so. Look at all these stacked mobs with my Frozen Orb. I could have just Frost Nova and obliterated them, but I'm not in Icy Veins. See, I try and Frost Nova, I really only catch the last 3 comets as opposed to getting all 7. Here, I pulled a pack that I had CC'd earlier, ends up, letting us have perfect percentage later on, so he probably wanted to pull it after the second boss, though. Yeah, I think he just double-checked his percentage and realized we didn't need a double pull, because when you CC the pat back at that urn, what that really generally lets you do is pull that pat with the Barb Shackle group that's right there, but we had too much percent anyway, so. I'm gonna save my frozen orb here. Obviously the mobs are gonna die pretty soon, but that's something I found a lot more important in this new season, is once the mobs get to like 15%, 10% HP, you have to save your frozen orb because it's just not as free as it used to be, so. I'm slowly changing my camera angle because like I'm expecting this guy from his previous pulls to just rip it straight into the boss. And he actually, shows a lot more restraint than I thought he would. It takes a few seconds to go. Maybe he's waiting cooldown, so I haven't enabled my Omni CC again, which is a mistake, but yeah. Since we were so fast before, we can actually lust this boss, and as a result, well, I mean, me and the Fire Mage end up doing like 20k DPS at the start of this pull, and the guy is just 50% HP before you know it. I quick Ice Block cancel, so I can keep spamming in my Rune of Power. I'm gonna alter and walk to the side, because he always does Endless Torment, and that actually puts a dot on the entire group, which is really good to alter time normally. Also, the ended up lying really well to cover that dot, so our healer could just keep spamming his lightning bolts. And now this is why you play Frost Mage, people, okay? You can see the Fire Mage uses his first block, I use my second block. He's about 3k DPS below me, and I guarantee half of that difference is just straight up from the fact that I was able to block 2 of these Rite of Supremacies and keep casting, whereas he couldn't. Especially because he saved his block for the second one, which was out of Lust, whereas our first one was in it. So yeah, that is the type of utility that Frost can bring, or the personal utility to keep your damage rolling inside a key. This guy just debates me by teleporting back to the center. But yeah. Here my Comet Storm should be up, so I'm gonna try and get some crazy damage. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure what ended up happening, but my Nova was a bit late, so I only ended up doing about 40k. And now I'm gonna make a classic blunder here again. I re-Icy Veins for the Rune of Power, and then these mobs immediately die. And I'm left hoping that the tank doesn't say Shroud. Which he does, right? So now we're in a bit of a pickle, because my Icy Veins is running out. I have no movement speed. I should have Night Fae blinked here, actually. But to be honest, I forgot that was a thing. I have 2 blinks of my own. I don't normally have to use Soul Shape. I do what I can to salvage my Icy Veins CDR, and then to ensure that I can get back online as fast as possible, I'm just hard focusing to and I'm gonna hard focus when it comes out as well to get the Icy Veins back up and rolling. It turns out it's kind of a good thing, maybe, that I didn't Icy Veins here, because, you know, our Fire Mage is doing 90k DPS. So there wouldn't be many mobs for me to hit for very long. And then we all get incredibly low from the bursting stacks. Our healer is able to clutch it up and just ascendance us through it, which is really good, because once you reach this gauntlet area, you're forced to beat res if you want to go farther, if you shroud skipped, or, you know, people have to invis back through, which generally people have one invis pot, and it's on a 5-minute cooldown. So the tank's acting like this is tyrannical, and just he's pulling everything. So here I'm kind of biding my time. I'm trying to see if my Comet Storm's gonna proc. I was really hoping it would over there, so I could, you know, proc the Comet Storm on top of the Frozen Orb. I was a bit late in doing this. I had to react to the animation because I couldn't really see my character getting knocked up by storming. I couldn't see the animation that would surround my character, that is. This would be a great time for my Comet Storm to proc, and it doesn't, because it's probably still on cooldown, because it literally just happened at the end of that last pull, which was really unfortunate. So it procs at the end, and I could have Nova'd. I end up Novaing really late, because I think this is like 3 a.m. or something. I don't know why I was saying I think it's 3 a.m., because I'm voiceovering this at 4:20 a.m. But yeah, I need to sleep. But I will soon. This is almost done. And then 40 minutes of this video uploading to YouTube, and then I can sleep. Woohoo. But yeah. Unfortunately, this shaman did an absolute power move of just standing right on top of my rune of power with that wicked slash. So we end up getting cleaved by it because I'm unwilling to move and he's unwilling to move. And then I almost die because of it. But yeah, it was really my fault. I could have been a little farther out. Luckily, we're going to kill pretty soon, and that will give us a bunch of HP regen. I could teleport back a little bit sooner, but that's alright. This last fight actually does take a little bit of time, presumably because, you know, the Fire Mage can't actually hit him with the 30% execute phase. That was a really strong rune of power there, which is completely coincidental that I got to hit both Ice Lances through a Winter's Chill on it, and also that it ended up proccing with my random Comet Storm. I'm gonna block off the Wicked Rush there because I didn't feel I didn't really feel like I could dodge it when it's going. I don't even know what direction we consider that, horizontal. I don't know. I guess it's vertical with the platform, isn't it? You know, I don't know. It's going forward in respect to the door. We'll say that. I did not feel confident about dodging that. Again, huge value right there because I was in rune and my Comet Storm ends up getting flurry proc. That's one of the values of kind of always be casting on your target. It makes it much more likely that you're going to enter that scenario with your random Comet Storm proc. And one of the things I've noticed in Raid is sometimes you'll just get like a 5-second Comet Storm because you're using your active Comet Storm ability and your passive 1 procs as well. We dodged that like a boss because I'm not taking damage out here, I'm doing the damage. And then we timed the key. Comet Storm did a smooth 2.66k overall damage. Kind of crazy. DPS, 2,660 DPS. And this is where I'm in my commentary. You know, feel free to check out the Twitch sub, and yeah, I'll leave it running for slightly longer so that you can see my conversation with this other guy, because you know this is where he says, "Hey, I know who you are." I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." But yeah, thanks for watching.